Hello everyone, back once again with another Wi-Fi match for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And as I said in my last match, my opponent for this match here is going to be WGT once again, because I was actually going to give this opponent another rematch because, you know, they were courteous enough to let me use 2 months that were meant to be, well, that are OU, and, I used them in the match that was supposed to be UU, basically, and as a result, because of that, I kind of felt bad, obviously. So obviously I decided, you know what, let's do a rematch, and this time let's use mons that are, appropriate for the tier and whatnot. And in this case, we're going to be doing an OU match this time. And as you can see, I am finally going to be able to showcase the team that I've been trying to showcase for the past, I guess, 3 matches before the one with my opponent, obviously, in the last match, basically. So yeah, this was the team that I was trying to showcase, but every time I use this team, it always went to time, annoyingly enough. So we're gonna see what we can obviously do in this match. Obviously, because this match is being shown here, obviously you can already tell that the match did in fact not go to time. But obviously the question is, can I make this team work? If you saw my opponent's team, half of his team is basically the same as what we dealt with in the last match, unless they changed the movesets or something like that, honestly. But I mean, if not, then obviously I kind of have an idea of what to expect from this opponent. That's usually why keeping the same mods is sometimes not a good idea, especially if what you're looking for is a rematch, because opponents can just simply shift their teams, and then they're already gonna know what you want to do, but you're not gonna know what the other wants to do. But either way, it is what it is. So here, my opponent leads off with the Jolteon, and I led off with the Rotom Wash. Yeah, and here, I was debating of whether or not I wanted to go for the Volt Switch or the Hydro Pump, because the Jolteon might want a Volt Switch, and he might want to give himself some Switch initiative, and I was just like, let's just stay in and go for Hydro Pump. Not a lot appreciates the Hydro Pump aside from Dragonite, and since Dragonite will lose the multi-scale if he takes a hit, it wouldn't be convenient for them. So yeah, so here obviously I'm gonna try to go for another Hydro Pump. I was actually curious if my opponent was gonna be willing to stay in. They went for Discharge on my Rotom, which does do a decent amount. In fact, it's a 3-hit KO. I was wondering if he wanted to go for maybe the Shadow Ball here so that they can actually get a Spadef drop and then finish me off that way. But either way, regardless of what it goes for, it was gonna 3-hit KO me regardless. So yeah, puts me to red here with the second Discharge, and I just take it out with the Hydro Pump. This fella wanted to actually, he wanted my Rotom to actually miss, and I was just like, you punk. Cause yeah, like damn, it kind of reminds me of the waifu guy that I played against a while ago in this game, where they were kind of hoping that the RNG would screw me over. Well, they were kind of hoping here, for the same to happen with me in this match with the Hydro Pump. They were hoping that I'd miss it, and I was just like, no way, man, no way, no freaking way. I do not want to be missing moves, especially knowing my luck in Generation 8. Although it's more so for Sword and Shield than it is for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. But again, that doesn't mean I want to carry that curse onto Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl of all games. So yeah. Anyways, they sent out the Drapion, which, if you saw in the last match, is kind of scary because they have knockoff. And right now I have Tangrowth and Clefable, so Poison Jab is also just a problem. And because Drapions usually have decent coverage, it can also have Earthquake, which will cover Raikou and Lucario. So yeah, oh, and Ice Fang for Dragonite as well. So, and Rotom is already weakened, so any move will take this thing out at this point. So yeah, not looking too good for me right here in this particular part of the match, obviously. So obviously I had to be careful with what I actually sent out here. I was close to sending in Clefable, hoping I could like 2-hit KO it with a Moonblast, but the problem was, could I take a Poison Jab fairly well? Do I want my Clefable to take additional damage? I personally didn't, so I just decided to let Rotom go down here. And what I do here is actually kind of interesting, because what I actually want to do here is send in Lucario, because if I send in Tangrowth, I just get Poison Jabbed. I could knock off whatever it has, but it's not going to do any damage. I could also try to put it asleep, but if the Sleep Powder miss, then obviously I'd be, again, in a tight situation. I'd be taking damage for no reason, all because I'm trying to put him on to sleep with a move that is likely to miss. So yeah, nah, that isn't in my interest, obviously. There was also Raikou, but again, Earthquake, and again, I'm not sure if I can actually like one-shot the the Drapion with one Thunderbolt, and I personally don't think I could, honestly, given that the Drapion is at full HP right now. That's one of the reasons why I ultimately decided to go into Lucario, because Lucario, yeah, it might not appreciate the Earthquake if this thing has it, but it actually can still recover a little bit from the damage that it takes with the Drain Punch. So as you can see, unfortunately for me, this Drapion does have the Earthquake, so yeah, I do take a lot of damage. Thankfully, it does not take me out, and this Drain Punch does do a fair amount. In fact, if this Lucario, just like in my last match with Roserade, if this Lucario was just slightly faster than Drapion, I would have been able to 2-hit KO this thing as well. But, you know, Lucario and Roserade are both 90 base speed, and Drapion is 95, so it naturally outspeeds, even if this thing was like, you know, well, not if it was adamant. If it was adamant and my mons were like of plus speed nature, then obviously I would be able to outspeed them, but it's most likely Jolly because, you know, it obviously outsped my Lucario, so it is what it is. Here I decided to switch in the Dragonite, anticipating another Earthquake. I don't know why though, this thing could have actually gone for the knockoff given that I was already weakened, honestly, so this might have been a misplay on my part. Either way, they didn't even go for Earthquake because they actually ended up going for the Acupressure instead, which is a move that I actually could have sworn was a banned move, but you know, given the fact that I used 2 mons that were OU in a match that was supposed to be UU, I guess it makes sense, and I decided to just let it slide, honestly, because, you know, I mean, it's like kind of like an eye for an eye type of thing, honestly, but something like that. I don't know, but either way, here I'm gonna try to go for the Earthquake, but because as you saw, the Acupressure raised the Drapion's defense by 2, so that means this Earthquake now does nothing. So I have to now finish this thing off with an E-Speed. Thankfully, that +2 didn't matter all that much, just given the fact that I mean I didn't take any damage after going for the Earthquake because, you know, it took one move to, you know, get the +2 defense, which was the same turn that I went for Earthquake, and then, you know, finished it off with E-Speed and all that good stuff. So now the Drapion now goes down, and that's actually really, really good for me, because the Drapion was actually a threat because that mon has knockoff, and anytime I switch out, he could just go for the knockoff and, you know, not only knock off the items from my mons, but do a lot of damage, because you know how knockoff functions. But now, here, my opponent's now going to send out the Empoleon, and obviously, because it's Empoleon, obviously, I had to switch out, because if there's one move I can anticipate this thing going for is the Ice Beam, given that it's a Dragonite, you know, that I have out on the field right now. So because of that, I was actually wondering, what should I send in? I was considering Clefable, but then I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't have anything for Empoleon. If it had Thunderbolt, it would have been able to come in on Empoleon, even if the Empoleon has Flash Cannon or something. But usually Empoleons don't have Flash Cannon, usually, but you know, anything is possible in Pokemon. So here, I'm going to send in Raikou instead. The only thing I could hope for is that I don't get frozen by the Ice Beam. Thankfully, I don't. So here, now I'm just wondering, do I want to go for the raw Thunderbolt to just do as much damage to the Empoleon as possible, or do I want to just go for the Volt Switch? I ultimately go for the Volt Switch just because, you know, it's kind of an obvious play to go for Thunderbolt here. So I was thinking, yeah, let's just go for the Volt Switch to give ourselves a decent switch advantage, because my opponent is in fact going to switch out to Magnezone, which does resist the Thunderbolts, so Volt Switch was much better for me to go for in this case. So here, I'm going to actually, I believe, send in the Tangrowth, because I had a plan here with this Tangrowth. So the first thing I wanted to do with this Tangrowth was actually go for the knockoff, because I have the anticipation that maybe this Magnezone could be Choice Scarfed. I know for a fact that in Generation 6 and Generation 7, I used to use Choice Scarfed Magnezone a decent amount, so my curiosity of whether or not this was still a thing in Generation 8 was, you know, definitely there, obviously, so I was actually willing to find out if that was the case, and as you saw, it was the case. This Magnezone was in fact Choice Scarfed, so now what I want to do here is go for the Leech Seed. They went for the Flash Cannon, which doesn't do as much as I would have thought, honestly. I actually thought this Flash Cannon was going to be at least a 2-hit KO on this Tangrowth, but I guess not. Either way, goodness knows I take those all the time. So I'm going to go for the Leech Seed here, and this Magnezone is going to go for Thunder for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Maybe they thought I'd switch out, but into what exactly? I'm not sure. Maybe they thought I'd switch into Clefable? Nah, that wouldn't work, because, again, Flash Cannon. Yeah, no, I don't know what they were expecting here, honestly. Maybe they just wanted to get the Para on my Tangrowth so that I, you know, get limited in mobility, but, you know, nothing happens. So I just get this Leech Seed off, and I actually can recover a decent amount of HP. Now, here's where the other part of the plan comes in here. Now that I got the Leech Seed off, and now that I knocked off, now I actually want to go for the Sleep Powder. And if the sleep powder misses for one reason or another, then obviously right there I'm going to actually switch out, possibly into Raikou. But yeah, here's going to go for another Flash Cannon. It doesn't take me out just yet, and I am in fact going to miss the sleep powder because, you know, my RNG luck in Generation 8 is not exactly the greatest, so. But I am going to be able to still get leftovers and leech seed recovery, so that's alright. And then when I switch out, it's going to get regenerated, so it'll kind of be like slightly over half, which, you know, it's almost as if I didn't take that last Flash Cannon, basically. But here I'm going to go into the Raikou now, because I expect another Flash Cannon, since the Flash Cannon is getting kind of close to taking my Tangrowth out, basically. At least from this point, before the Regenerator and whatnot. So here, my opponent is probably also anticipating that, honestly, the switch in. Because here, as I send in the Raikou, instead of going for the Flash Cannon, my opponent, I don't know if they were actually anticipating this switch, or were they just being random with their moves, because they did go for Thunder earlier on the Tangrowth, which resisted, so when Flash Cannon was doing just fine, honestly. Could have been a 3-hit KO even, but you know, here they went for the Tri-Attack this time, and yeah, it does do a decent amount to Raikou. It's the most, or it's the best move that they could go for on my Raikou, given that, you know, it resists Thunderbolt and the Flash Cannon, so yeah, it was a good play for my opponent on this particular matter. So here, now here what I was looking at my team, because, you know, I know for a fact I'm going to take out this Magnezone. I could take it out with Scald or Shadow Ball, or hell, even Thunderbolt if I really, really want to. Like, if I want to actually predict him to want to switch out the Magnezone for whatever reason. Like, I had literally everything covered here. But I just wanted to make sure that whatever Mon he sends in, that I have an answer for it. And he does have the Fortress, and that's something I think that was the reason why I was like kind of looking at my team for a bit, because the Fortress is another Mon that's kind of annoying, honestly. I don't have a lot that can deal with that Fortress, because most of my Mons are physical attackers. So yeah, I think that was my concern, was that I'd lose the Raikou, because I kind of don't want to lose Raikou, since that's like my most powerful special attacker at the moment. That can even do any damage to the Fortress. So yeah, Fortress, despite being a simple Cleric Mon, and not to mention a Hazard Stacker, I mean, it was still kind of problematic for me, because my Mons are not like built to just one-shot things. They just hit really, really hard, but not exactly one-shot things. So, and with a Mon like Fortress, that's just nothing more than an inconvenience. So yeah, it is what it is. And speaking of Fortress, here it comes right now. And as you saw, that Thunderbolt did almost nothing, actually, which is kind of crazy. It just goes to show you how bulky these things are. And annoyingly enough for me, this thing is actually going to go for the spikes, the first layer of spikes. Now here, given the damage from Thunderbolt and the fact that this thing had leftovers as always, I decided to go for the Shadow Ball just to see if I can lower the special defense and just take it out with the next Thunderbolt. Unfortunately for me, not only does this Shadow Ball do less Shadow Ball do less damage than Thunderbolt naturally, but it also just doesn't get the Spadef drop. So that means that now I have to hit this thing with another Thunderbolt. And as you can see right here, I don't take it out quite yet. However, I have a feeling that had I just gone for Thunderbolt this whole time, this thing would have just gotten 3-hit KO'd. And probably not have gotten that third layer of spikes, which is, yeah, pretty annoying. But that was my fault. That was a misplay on my end, I think. I think I just got like a little annoyed at the fact that this thing was taking the Thunderbolts too well. Like, for crying out loud, I have a freaking Raikou, a legendary Mon. This is supposed to do a lot more damage. But, you know, it is what it is. That's just how Pokemon is sometimes. Mons are able to take moves very, very well, even from the legendary Mons, and it's, you know, it's just all sorts of insane. There's a reason there's a tiering system in this game, for this game anyway. Unofficially, but it's a tiering system nonetheless. Either way, my opponent's going to send in the Empoleon, and I'm just going to go for the Thunderbolt. I was kind of curious as to why they even went for Empoleon, given that I was just going to Thunderbolt this thing. But what they wanted to do was just go for the rocks, which is, yeah, kind of annoying. Basically, this opponent wanted to actually hazard stack me, because the last Mon that this opponent has is actually the Dragonite. And the Dragonite, you already know how Dragonites function. They set up a Dragon Dance and just kind of destroy the whole, you know, the whole field and all that good stuff. Like a pseudo-legendary would, or something, I don't know. But anyways, I am going to still take out the Empoleon though, nonetheless, and yeah. It's going to send in Dragonite, which hilariously enough is named Nighty Night, which, yeah, I kind of see why. Because Hazard stack me, and then sends in Dragonite, sets up a Dragon Dance, and Nighty Night, that's the whole game. Yeah, but, you know, hopefully I was hoping for that to not happen. I just go for the Thunderbolt here just to get as much damage as possible, to break the multi-skill as well. However, as you see right here, they actually got a paralysis, so I was just like, okay. At the time, I thought this was actually huge for me because, you know, this thing did look like it was just going to sweep me with all the hazard stacking and all that stuff. But you're going to see in a bit right now how that's not even close to the case. Like, this paralysis may very well not have mattered. If anything, this was just an inconvenience for my opponent to not, like, be able to land an attack because of the paralysis. But they did get the Dragon Dance off right here. And the next move that my opponent should go for right here is the Extreme Speed if they have it. So, yeah, obviously, if he gets paralysis somewhere around here, then yeah, that crit, the paralysis would have mattered, basically, the parahacks and all that good stuff. So I just go for Thunderbolt here. The Dragonite doesn't get affected by paralysis, and does, you know, what they were supposed to do at +1, you know. Just go for the Extreme Speed and destroy everything. Now, let it be known that once again, this match, just like the last one, this one also happened around 1 in the morning, so, you know. I was thinking of going into Clefable here, which I should have, but what happens is that I wasn't looking at my, like, at the, you know, the moves and the abilities, which I should have, because, you know, again, this was like at 1 in the morning, so I wasn't, like, really focusing very well at the time here. So what I do instead, because I thought I was just going to get, like, hazard stacked, like, Clefable is going to take hazards and then just get, like, Earthquaked or something, and, you know, I kind of didn't want that, so I went into Lucario just to go for more E-speeds here, and, like, possibly weaken it. The plan here was also to go into Dragonite as well to try to finish it off, because given the amount of damage that Lucario did here with the E-speed, it did look like with one more E-speed, if I win the speed tie, I could be able to actually take out the Dragonite, but I'd have to win the speed tie, basically. Because, yeah, obviously, I mean, I think this thing is +1, but because of the paralysis, I was kind of hoping that, you know, that I'd be able to, like, win a speed tie with the Dragonite and beat it with the E-speed. And if, you know, that doesn't work out, then I just simply go into Clefable then. However, here, yeah, obviously, it was right here where I finally put 2 and 2 together that, wait a minute, Clefable has Magic Guard, and it doesn't get affected by hazards whatsoever. So because of that, I finally send this thing in, and I just finally go for the Moonblast here. They tried to go for another E-speed, but that's where the paralysis kicked in. Again, I don't think it mattered, because even if he went for it, it wasn't going to do much. If they went for Earthquake on my Clefable, it wasn't going to do anything either, honestly, especially because Magic Guard, if I had Unaware, then they might have been able to take me out with 1 Earthquake. Not really sure, though. Probably not, though, because, you know, Clefable is really, really bulky. So they probably would have not been able to take me out with the Earthquake at +1 anyways. I think if they had gone for a second Dragon Dance, particularly where I send in the Lucario, they might have been able to get a second Dragon Dance up right there, and then right there, I would have been doomed, possibly, because, again, the Clefable was Magic Guard. Actually, if it's Magic Guard and doesn't take any hazards, then obviously, I might be able to take the +2 Earthquake, because it's not stab on Dragonite, and I was at full HP, thanks to the Magic Guard ability. And if I was Unaware, then it might have actually, not been affected by the +2, but it would have been affected by the hazards, which means that I probably would have still taken the Earthquake fairly well. So I think, again, it just didn't matter whatsoever what my opponent did here. It didn't matter if he got paralysis, it didn't matter if he got all the hazards up, and it definitely didn't matter if he got +2 up. Like, this guy was just screwed either way. So, holy damn. That's just kind of insane. And the funny thing is that throughout this match, I was just scared out of my mind that I was going to lose because, you know, the guy was hazard stacking me, and it looked like he was just going to destroy me with the Dragonite. But yeah, no, it was just, you know, I was tired, so, because this was at 1 in the morning. In fact, this match I think finished like around almost 2 in the morning. So yeah, it was just, I was just all over the place, and I'm honestly surprised I even won that, honestly. But it is what it is. Either way, that's gonna be the whole match for today, obviously, and thank you WGT for doing these matches with me. Like I said before, I'm always grateful to anyone who plays Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pro with me, because we are in the year 2025 now, and Scarlet and Violet is still the wave, obviously. I'm hoping Pokemon Legends ZA is actually a good game and actually has the Wi-Fi battling system, because Pokemon Legends Arceus, from what I understood, did not have it whatsoever. So I was just like, damn. So what was even the point in releasing that game? What will be the point of releasing this? If Legends ZA does not have you know, Wi-Fi battling systems, then obviously, like, we're just gonna be stuck with Scarlet and Violet for like, what, another 2 years then? That'd be insane, honestly. Am I gonna really play Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pro all the way to 2027? Who knows, honestly. But either way, it is what it is. But anyways, with all that said, again, thank you for watching this match, and hope to catch you guys for the next one whenever I get to one. For now, just take it easy and have yourselves a good one.